erupts at the city dump, and this time it's creating a stinky situation.
The Bahamas talks reparations at CARICOM.
And soccer season is underway. The Bahamas Tonight starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Firefighters are now battling 3 fires in the area of the city dump. Good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley.
And I'm Andrew Knowles. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, these fires have been a nuisance and a health concern for residents in the area. The first 2 fires broke out at the dump last Friday, and the third fire erupted late yesterday afternoon at the septic sledge of the Water and Sewage Corporation, some 200 feet away. Janaea Noel Ferguson was on the scene today.
After days of battling 2 fires at the city dump, fire officials had another fire to contend with just miles away at the water and sewage septic sludge plant. Plumes of smoke and a pungent odor polluted the air, making working and living conditions almost unbearable in that area. Officer in charge of the fire division, Walter Evans.
Plus, there were some health concerns yesterday for our staff. As a prime example, we had to put on our oxygen tanks for obvious reasons. And then, of course, the mixture of smoke emanating from this fire, along with the 2 fires which are now existing, the Department of Environment and Health City Dump, which is just south of where we are, there was a significant amount of concern.
We understand that this is the first fire at the site, which was originally designed to collect and dispose of septic waste material. But because an oil waste depository was closed, oil has also been deposited there, compounding the situation.
Some oil which was here on the facility, in this general area here, which would have ignited to a very, very large area. Our crews moved in very, very quickly, and we sought to control the fire. And one of the issues that we had to do was to ensure that the fire did not spread towards the city dump.
While efforts were being made to out that blaze here at the water and sewage septic tank, fire officials continue to monitor and work to out that blaze at the city dump that started on Friday.
We have been arduously working to contain most of the flames. Right now, we are standing at the backdrop of where the worst fire was, which were the tires. That is now burning itself out. Once it has been burnt out, we will then put additional water and quarry material on it, and then just compact it and cover it over.
Now, Thomasina Williams, Deputy Director of Environmental Health, says while the fire at water and sewage was not a threat to the city dump, they are working to decrease the smoke from the fire.
The other fire, which is the residential part, which is further to the back, that is about 70% contained. We are also working to contain and abate the smoke. The smoke, it takes a little longer because with putting the water and opening it up, you will try now to contain that and get that out.
Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Prime Minister the Honourable Perry Christie commenting on the constitutional issue that has affected the status of hundreds of thousands of people of Haitian descent in the Dominican Republic.
Prime Minister Christie, along with Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell, Labor Minister the Honourable Shane Gibson, and Financial Services Minister Ryan Pinder, as well as the Ambassador to CARICOM, His Excellency Picewell Forbes, are at the 25th CARICOM Intersessional Heads of Government meeting in St. Vincent.
I explained to them that this was a matter that the region must be engaged on and should not have a detached view of or take some decision that would really represent our not being at the table. That in fact, there's every reason why we should be at the table, and we should be concerned because the Bahamas itself has a major concern on the whole issue of illegal migration, and that whereas our situation is not entirely that of the Dominican Republic, the same human emotions are involved in terms of the numbers coming in and the cost to our country and the numbers coming in terms of repatriation and being able to house them. And we do not want to, I think, cause there to be any debate about our human rights records.
Meantime, Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell commented on the issue of reparations for slavery. CARICOM has agreed on a 10-point plan on the issue.
We made a statement about the fact that the Cabinet has formally constituted the Committee on Reparations. And that committee is really going to be involved in public education and advising the government on what the position is with regard to this. So it's a studying issue and it's a public education issue in the first instance. What follows from that requires individual decisions by the government. But the committee, which is going to be formally announced in Nassau next week, has a cross-section of Bahamians from the academy, from the business community, from the political community. And there's a growing body of what I call Africanists in the Bahamas who are interested in this as a subject, and we wanted to make sure that they were engaged in it.
The police commissioner says he's seriously concerned about a disturbing trend which is impacting the fight against crime. He says despite the police force's best efforts, the common thread continues to show up. Our Clint Watson has the story.
Commissioner of Police Ellison Greenslade is renewing his concern over repeat offenders being given bail. This as police continue to see a disturbing trend reoccurring on a regular basis. The commissioner says his officers are working very hard, but there are issues they cannot solve by themselves.
A person who offends against the law commits a very serious crime. Someone dies. We arrest and charge the person and take them before a court of law. Within a short period of time, we see that same perpetrator again. That person again murders someone. Now you have 2 murder charges. We again arrest that person, takes that person before a court of law. And I'm telling you, members of the press, that plays out on a daily basis. Where are those people? Still on bail.
Mr. Greenslade maintains that police have enjoyed tremendous support from the public in solving crime. However, there are still some who refuse to speak up and help the police. The commissioner gave this serious example.
We have a young man who is running around the streets of New Providence shooting a gun, firing a gun. He is referred to on the streets as Little D. Pray tell me why in a community where he lives, people won't tell us where Little D is, where he's sleeping. And I want every police officer under the sound of my voice and every member of the public to help us to find that man. He is not alone. They've murdered people before, many of these suspects that we're seeking. And if we don't take them out of your communities and get up in their faces and say, look, you cannot continue to do that, we're going to have some more problems. This is a very simple issue, and I don't think we should complicate it.
Commissioner Greenslade says in a vibrant democracy, we cannot just give up and allow criminals to take control of our country, especially since these lawbreakers are known by the public.
We know exactly who they are, and it's unfortunate some of them hold them up as heroes. And they're running around the streets with illegal guns in their hands. So I'm asking you to help us. You want to do something for the Bahamas? Help us. Get that message out that they need to turn these people in. Turn up in these people that we want for murder, suspects for murders, armed robberies, and rape. You listen to the reports over the weekend that we gave you. My goodness. My goodness. These matters are going before the Supreme Court, and so Commissioner can't speak too much to it. But look at what you're getting from us in terms of who we arrest, what we've arrested them for, and the kinds of acts that they've committed. Our children. Bahamians.
Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
A jury has convicted 28-year-old Oscar Ingram of rape, burglary, and robbery. The guilty verdict handed down Monday afternoon. Throughout the trial, Ingram maintained his innocence, telling jurors that he never broke into the homes of 2 women back in 2012, robbed them at gunpoint, and then raped one of them. However, the jury returned a 7-2 guilty verdict, indicating that most of them didn't buy his story. In court, Ingram cried as the verdict was read. He returns to court on May 16th for sentencing. Justice Carolita Bethel presided over the case. An alleged victim of human trafficking told jurors under cross-examination today that she was afraid of the accused, Jamaican national Chevenix Sasha Gay Hall. She testified that while the defendant never held a gun to her head, she threatened her and her family, and as a result, she was afraid of what the accused and a man called Sam might do to her. Prosecutors contend that over a 2-week period, the accused made one of the victims have sex for money 9 times. They also contend that the accused restricted their movements of the victims, accompanied them everywhere, and kept the compound where they lived locked. Chavannes Sasha Gay Hall is facing 4 counts of human trafficking and 2 counts of unlawfully withholding the passports of 2 Jamaican women. She has pleaded not guilty to the charges. 42-year-old Marvin Roll dodged a prison sentence today after pleading guilty to receiving over $18,000 worth of ductile pipes, which belonged to the Water and Sewage Corporation back in 2011. During the proceedings, Roll explained through his attorney Ian Cargill that he was working as a hacker at the time and was hired to collect the pipes from a man in Coral Harbor and transport them to the salvage yard. In passing sentence, Justice Vera Watkins took into consideration Roll's guilty plea and the fact that he hasn't been in trouble with the law for over 20 years. She also noted that most of the pipes were recovered and Roll didn't have any other involvement in the matter. She then fined him $600 or 2 months in prison and gave him a week to pay the fine. Roll was facing 5 years in prison.
2 men were arrested during an operation conducted by dozens of plainclothes officers from the Drug Enforcement Unit as they patrolled West Street off Dorset Alley this morning. And this is video you will see on just one station. Assistant Commissioner of Police Anthony Ferguson says it's the mandate of the Royal Bahamas Police Force to ensure that all Bahamians who break the law are charged for the crimes they're alleged to have committed. While he didn't reveal to us the identities of the 2 men arrested, he did tell us what they were picked up for.
This Royal Bahamas Police Force is very technically inclined. When we do name checks on people, you find that there are outstanding warrants on persons who should appear before the court. They were given bail and they determined that they should not go to court. And when we do a name check on them, we are able to determine that these persons have warrants on them. And so persons who are also suspected of committing criminal offenses, this net today will no doubt catch all of those persons. Wherever they are today, I believe we will find them today.
Well, still ahead tonight, urban renewal on the move. We have the latest.
And the flag football season just days away. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Shell Quality Fuels.